Carbines. Now, of all the Mosines I've collected, it's the carbines I've enjoyed the most, and I collected quite a few of them back when they could be had for under $100. This particular one is not the run-of-the-mill 1943 Izhevsk, as you see here. You can see it's got some white highlighting in the markings there. It remains of it anyway. Not from me, it actually came that way. It's got the typical wartime rough finish on it. However, you might notice there are no refurbishment marks on this one. This actually is an issued rifle. It has some interesting features, such as an early stock, as you can see there. No shellac. It looks a little dark because I put some lemon oil on it, but it's actually more like barnwood when it's not oiled up. It's got some interesting force matching going on here. If I can get the camera to focus, I can actually show you that. But I guess the camera's not going to focus on it. There we go. You notice there's EP and stamped numbers on that. And we have a few neat little stock repairs up here by the muzzle. One of them, you'll note right here, has an interesting almost dovetail feature there that I have found on many of the rifles that were imported from Romania back in the early 1990s, late 1980s. And that is where I suspect this one came from as well, as most of those 9130s I had very little shellac on them, or none at all. We have a few interesting stamps on the stock. You can just barely make them out. Right there we've got a star. Not sure what that is. On the butt plate we have a line out, or not really a line out, I think they just kind of stamped a few little dash marks there and renumbered the butt plate right there. Typical of other rifles I've gotten from the Romanian horde as well. A few marks over here. Hard to make out what they are. All of them unknown, of course. It appears to be all Izhevsk parts. While I'm sure they don't all come off the same rifle. A 1943 manufactured M38 would be highly unlikely to have a stock like this on it. This is more likely from a 1940, maybe 41, early 41. Although all the numbers do match now, but undoubtedly they're force match. This has been refurbished, if you can call it that, much the same way as some of the M44s I have that came in from that part of the world. Hungarian M44 and so forth. Where they really didn't refinish it so much as take parts that would work and put them together and kind of half-assed resnagged. My M44 Hungarian, that one has all force-matched EP numbers. But they never took the old numbers off. They just EP'd a new number next to it and left the stamp numbers there. A few little unknown stamps there. Most of these tiny markings are just basically unknown. We don't know what they mean. Nobody's in any big rush to tell us inside Russia. You can see the typical high wall receiver. Very common for 43, well, since mid to late 1941, right up through 1944. You'll see some rough machining there and tool marks and such. Things were kind of rushed at the time. There was no time for niceties like smoothing out metal and making stocks look pretty, all of that kind of thing. We have a very nice bore in this one. No counter bore. You can see a very tight crown. That's about as tight a crown as you're going to get on one of these. Basically new, as if it's never been fired, but I'm sure it has been. Although it could have been sent to Romania as an unissued rifle. The bluing looks to be original. I don't think this was re-blued. Has wear here and there, but overall It's very similar to what you find on the refurbs, but not, or the Soviet refurbs, but not quite as dark. You see that I have a PPSH sling on there. I used to get these for $1 a piece from Sarco about 20 years ago. Try that today. Good luck. And with it, we have a few accessories that are typical of any Mosin rifle. We have the dual compartment oil and bore cleaner, I suppose, holder right there, can. And we have the single. I kind of like the singles. You don't see them as often, but if you notice, right in the middle of it, we have a really nice stamped Izhevsk triangle with arrow in it. So you know where this one came from anyway. And of course these rifles always come with these two compartments. Sometimes you get two of these, sometimes one. Ammo pouches here. And inside I have actual period ammunition. These are original clips. See if you can see the Izhevsk stamp on there. It's not really going to focus in very well, is it? I mean, a little more light, I suppose. Well, take my word for it. That tiny little stamp, that's the Izhevsk triangle. It's 1940s dated ammo. I think this is 47. One of those clips in there is actually 1944. It's not going to show us. Oh, there we go. Barely make out the 47, but take my word for it, it is. This is the actual ammunition they used in these during the war. Almost as old. I have this stuff strictly for display. I don't shoot this, I collect it. I have much more newer ammunition for shooting. This is just a display with the rifles. Cleaning kits, of course, we're all familiar with these, and hopefully you got one with your rifle, and has all the usual goodies inside. That's your muzzle cover. That's to make the T-handle on your cleaning rod, and of course the bolt tool that I already made a video about. This is a pull-through. I'm not exactly sure if this came with this kit or if I added it from something else, because I've had this kit a long time, but it might have. Something like this is also useful. The jag that goes on the cleaning rod. And of course, your basic pouch. Those tools, of course, are for any Mosin rifle, not just the M38. Getting harder and harder to find these M38s now, and you almost never see them issued. This is only one of a few that I ever found that was. And the ones that was, my other one is actually Finnish, a Finnish capture, and I don't think I have any other Soviet ones that are. This is the only Balkan one I have. And I was lucky to get it in very nice condition. It's not beat to death. It's not messed with. And it actually is a pretty good shooter. I've had it out on the range a number of times, and holds pretty good. It probably shoots better than I can. I generally manage about 3 MOA with this at 100 yards, around there, give or take. But that's me. I'm not the best shot in the world. The M38 Izhevsk Mosin Nagant. Now the Soviet Union sent these as aid to Romania because Romania simply could not make their own rifles fast enough. They did make a very nice M44 eventually, but they were a while getting caught up. But they also sent aid to East Germany and probably all the East Bloc countries they took over in 1945 and didn't give back. And of course, there's a lot of demand these days for M38s, and we are seeing some new ones coming out of Russia that we still really don't know the heritage of just yet. But this is the real thing. Unissued, well, excuse me, issued. This one is definitely issued. open that for you. Oh, there we go. And all Izhevsk. And I think that about covers it.